Alrighty, g'day everybody. Hope you're well and had a good week. The weekend is fast approaching, and mine is fast approaching. I'm taking the kids camping, and I'm going to be in trouble because I meant to have picked them up a little while ago. So hey ho, they'll be right. More education. All right, so let me go through a couple of things. We're going to look at some of the news items that have come out throughout the week and see what the market is actually doing. I just want to start first of all by just bringing up the Bitcoin chart. We might go through another period like this. We might go through a relatively messy period. That is potentially on our doorstep. Of course, if we look at the weekly, there's still plenty of room for us to move back down into that 40 or possibly even below. So don't flip out, don't freak out if that was to occur. Right now, I mean, yesterday was a pretty solid day that was down 5% there. And now if we have a look here, look at this 4-hour time frame right now. Yesterday, we did have the higher low pushed to a higher high. So at that stage, it all looked pretty good, all good. Everything was sweet, not a problem. It looked like we might just continue to climb, but the market didn't hold that level. We came back, and since then we have a high to a low, not giving us very good trend to work with. While there are some good shorts out there, I'm short CRV, and I know many others will be as well. While there are some good opportunities out there, Bitcoin doesn't represent one of those opportunities to me because the 4-hour is not in a downtrend and the daily is also not in the downtrend. So there you go. That's my little take on Bitcoin. Let's have a look at the market, starting first of all on something negative. So Bill Gates, one of the most well-known billionaires in the world, of course, Microsoft. He's very much a techie type of guy. Seems to be he's right into his vaccines at the moment too. Bill Gates warns people who have less money than Elon Musk against investing in Bitcoin. Gates discussed his thoughts on cryptocurrencies and the creation of his own digital currency, which is surprisingly similar to Bitcoin's. Okay, that may, and we're going to go further into this, that first little paragraph there at the top may explain why he's not bullish on Bitcoin, because he may come out with his own. Okay, so down here, some of these little excerpts, that's what the word is. And I think moving money into a more digital form and getting transaction costs down, I do think moving money into a more digital form and getting transaction costs down, that's something the Gates Foundation does in developing countries. Okay, does it always have to be about you, Bill? I mean, come on, mate. That's what we've got. Stellar does it really well, XRP does it really well, Bitcoin's pretty slow, ETH is pretty expensive. So there are solutions out there. And by the way, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're already faster than wiring money overseas. One of our most important priorities is the development of pro-poor digital payment systems, the mechanisms by which individuals and businesses actually buy and sell. I don't know what we can read into that. I mean, from my understanding, I can do exactly that with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and whatnot. I've even got a card that I can, use to display and pay for things. So I'm not quite sure what he's talking about there, and how he doesn't see it being effectively used. Anyway, perhaps the most important condition for the development of new pro-poor payment systems is interoperability. That's a mouthful, by the way. The ability of customers to transact with any other customer, whether they use the same service provider or not. This kind of open loop system substantially lowers the costs and complexity of digital financial service and payment platforms. Okay, so look, I don't think that this seems like such a negative piece as what I thought it may be. It sounds as though Gates is all about what digital currencies offer, but just for some reason doesn't like Bitcoin. Bitcoin, yeah, we know it is relatively slow, and in emerging economies, it would be not the system to use, okay? As a digital gold, Bitcoin still holds value, as we know. It's above, just below $50,000 right now. So it sounds as though this is a bit of a clickbait, to be honest. Anyway, righto, go away. How do I get rid of that? Good night. Former London Stock Exchange Group CEO urges UK government to explore cryptocurrencies. Now this, again, the point of me bringing this into this conversation is, once again, we've got the right people saying the right things to these organizations, these governments, about crypto or digital assets. So someone here, Xavier Rolette, has been advising to look into cryptocurrencies. Now, when he says look into them or explore cryptocurrencies, what's he actually meaning? Because when it comes down to that, is he saying that it's good or bad? Or, that's the really interesting thing as to what on earth is going on there. Now, he urged the government to promptly consider the SPAC revolution, all right? Also referred to as blank check companies. These special purpose acquisition companies operate as shell corporations listed on a stock exchange with the idea of buying out a private company, thus making it public. Ultimately, this strategy eliminates the need to go through a traditional initial public offering. So what he's saying there is that if a company wanted to be listed on, say, the FTSE, onto that market there, you have a shell company that really is just a registered company and has the license to be on the market. It's on the market, it's there available. That company then goes and acquires an asset, therefore making that asset part of the listed company. So that's a way that's just quite a clever way of doing it for people that want to, or any bosses out there of crypto projects that would like to have a bit more legitimacy there. At the start of this year, the Financial Conduct Authority banned crypto derivatives and exchange-traded notes to retail customers. That's quite interesting because we've got clients in the UK, and I'm not sure if they might be getting around it another way. Very similar to that in the US as well. Speaking of the US, I know Kraken had a really big spike on Ethereum the other day. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some news coming out about that over the next couple of days. So again, we've got a major government looking into the regulation and options around cryptocurrency. I see that as a good thing. Not massively huge news, but again, it's just steps in the right direction. Of course, the big news this week is the rock star of Bitcoin at the moment. Well, I guess Elon Musk is one of them. He actually looks like a rock star here. Has bought another $1 billion of Bitcoin. Now, what does that mean for Bitcoin? Well, it just means more will be locked up. What's going to be quite interesting is to see how these CEOs and these major corporations that are buying Bitcoin, what they do with it. Are they going to freak out if the market falls hard, or are they very long term here? Because if we look at the people and the companies that are buying and acquiring Bitcoin, and it's happening right now today, I'm sure of it. We'll see more announcements like this coming out. What we're going to find, I think, is two schools of thought. One, we go, yay, more Bitcoin's gone. Meaning they're going to hold it. They're not going to sell it for now. That's good for us because we've got liquidity being sucked out. Some liquidity. We've got supply being taken away. All right, that's a good thing. The less supply and the higher the demand, the higher the price goes. That's good for us speculators and traders and investors. But what about if they decide that they want to exit? And they're not going to be able to exit at market and crash the market like that. But it wouldn't take very long for rumors to be spreading about markets being, about big players selling out their Bitcoin to really send shockwaves through the market and drive it lower. So there's a good and evil side to what they're doing, Microstrategy. I'm hopeful that they're holding it. They do say they're holding it as Treasury, but let's not forget his job, Michael's job, as a publicly listed company CEO, is to return investors a return. It's to give them reason to continue to hold on to the shares that they have. So they'll do what is best for the client. As much as he might love Bitcoin and be involved with Bitcoin, it's going to be interesting to see what they do if the market is to fall. And the final piece of news that I've got here is the US Secretary has several concerns about Bitcoin. It addresses need for digital dollar. So again, what we've got here is the US talking about cryptocurrency, but talking about their own cryptocurrency. Now that opens up a couple of things for us as retail market participants. One, again, what we've got is a major government discussing cryptocurrencies, discussing digital assets. Now you might wonder, why is that good? What can that be good for? It's good for the education of the general public to go, well, geez, maybe it's something that I should look into. Now, you can see here, I don't think that Bitcoin, I've said this before, is widely used as a transaction mechanism. To the extent it's used, I fear, often for illicit finance. It's an extremely inefficient way of conducting transactions, and the amount of energy that's consumed in processing those transactions is staggering. Yeah, okay, well, yes, there is a lot of energy being used, but there is ways to do that in a different, without it having to cause any problem for the environment. The other thing is as well, I'm so sick of the narrative that it's always used for illicit purposes. it does blow my mind. I mean, yeah, sure, there will be people out there that are doing the wrong thing. No worries. Of course that's going to happen. But the US dollar is the biggest one of that. It really boggles the mind that they're still hanging on to that. When it comes to the actual energy consumption, you can see in the very next paragraph, 75% of crypto miners use renewable energy sources, and crypto proponents like Kraken executive Dan Held maintain that Bitcoin uses far less energy than the banking industry, and that's a very solid point. So, more to the US Treasury conversation. It's a highly speculative asset, and I think people should be aware it can be extremely volatile. Correct, it is. Yeah, that's right. And I do worry about potential losses that investors in it could suffer. But you don't seem to care too much about any of the other losses that people take. You let Bernie Madoff operate the way he did with hundreds of billions of dollars for a long period of time. Crocodile tears. Crocodile tears. Now, I'm not saying this because I'm being a bully. Maybe I am a little bit. What is annoying, though, is that just how little they seem to recognize the opportunity. It's a volatile asset class. Absolutely, it's a volatile asset class. It's a new asset class. This is why people everyday people are getting very wealthy. It gives opportunity. It's a really good option. Sure, as a digital currency specifically for transacting each day, I agree. I think it's very good. I think there's better things out there. But as a store of value, it's very, very good. And one of the other things as well is that, we can't keep mollycoddling everybody. People need to learn. People need to have an education around the options that they have with their finances. Think about school. You don't really get taught how to manage your finances at school, do you? No. You really just get taught to be a worker. I'll wrap it up with this. There are a set of issues around central bank digital currencies that have to be examined. Obviously, back to the digital dollar. What would be the impact on the banking system? Would it cause a huge movement of deposits out of banks and into the Fed? Would the Fed deal with retail customers or try to do this at a wholesale level? Are there financial stability concerns? How would we manage money laundering and illicit finance issues? So there's a lot of consumer protection, a lot to consider here, but it's absolutely worth looking at it. That's good. They are looking at it, but they're looking at a digital dollar in the US. Now, I don't think that to my brain anyway, I don't personally like the idea of a digital dollar. Simply because the government will know everything about you, including your spending habits. They'll know literally everything. There'll be data to track it. They'll say, no, it's yours, but you know that that's bullshit. They're more than likely going to have access to it whenever they decide that they want to have access to it, just like your mobile telephone. All right? So across the board, look, I've got to be honest, it's not as bullish as some of the other weeks that we have had, as some of the other days that we have had. And we are seeing that largely reflected in the market at the moment. We are slightly up for the time being. I think Bitcoin might go into a bit of a consolidation period through here before we really see the legs kick in again. That's what I'm seeing at the moment. Based on the very little amount of data that I've got in this range here, it could do anything. Be ready for everything. Have a great weekend, and I'll be back again on Monday. This is the last... Oh, no, so I think that's all over now. Anyway, jump on to tradercobb.com, get yourself on that free course. Like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and I'll speak to you next week.